Hey everyone, MrBoris here, and in today's video we will navigate through the haunted ruins of Roblox The Wild West, and take a look at each of the game's villains or evil characters. For those who don't know, The Wild West is a free open world cowboy game created inside of Roblox. In it, you take the role of a cowboy, who has the choice of living the good parts of the West or the bad parts. Your main objective is to collect cash in order to buy yourself better weapons to defend yourself against the outlaws. But there come spontaneous times in the West when powerful wicked characters or creatures take over the Wild West entirely. We will look at each of the corruptive villains that stands between the player and the West. Sit back and relax, and let's explore all the evil parts of the West. Wendigo is one of the most known villains in the Wild West. It first ever appeared in the 2019 Halloween event. It has an appearance of a giant deformed deer, with giant claws, long black hair, and torn fabric found in the antlers. Wendigo has a one-of-a-kind unique behavior. When a Wendigo spots you, it will darken your screen and sprint after you, and will make a screeching noise. If you manage to get to an area where the Wendigo can't reach you, the Wendigo will then teleport to you and whack you, dealing 80 damage. It will then proceed to stretch and howl at the moon when no targets are in sight. The Wendigo has an overall health of 3500, and if killed, it will drop or give you multiple rewards. The Wendigo normally appears on every Halloween event, during Blood Moon nights. Leonard Callahan was a wealthy man who had owned a giant manor and plantation. He was described as a man of science, and was known to enjoy horseback riding on a daily basis. All was fascinating until the year 1888. While Leonard was on a horseback ride, he had discovered a skull belonging to a Wendigo. The curious man Leonard was, he was determined to unlock the secrets and power of the Wendigo. During this time, his obsession grew towards the Wendigo, making him decorate the manor and various pieces of art depicting it. After time went on, he realized the only way to gain its powers was to complete a soul-sacrificing ritual and attempt to harness the powers of the Wendigo, and decided to sacrifice his wife, Catherine. The ritual turned out to be a success, but Leonard was enraged and had felt shame and guilt, and ran away from the manor, where he would later state in his journal he was dying and would later turn into the Wendigo. It's still unknown how Leonard Callahan looked like, and it still remains a mystery. Ghost Lady was the ghost of Catherine Callahan, the wife of Leonard Callahan. Catherine lived peacefully in the Callahan Manor until her death in 1888, when she was murdered by Leonard. Ghost Lady had an appearance of a woman with long blonde hair and wore a cloak. After her death, her ghost haunted the attic of Manor, and as well haunted the church. She would scream and attack any player nearby, exploding into a cloud that dealt a significant amount of damage. Ghost Lady was only ever seen in a 2019 Halloween event, Callahan's Revenge, and after that, she was never seen again. Catherine's human appearance also remains a mystery, unfortunately. The legendary skeleton is a massive skeleton boss, standing around 8 feet tall. This ancient gunslinger wears a cowboy hat and a poncho, while holding a cursed volcanic pistol. Surely one of the most strongest villains found within the Wild West, with over 7,000 health and deals 30 damage to the body and 60 to the head with its pistol. The legendary skeleton can also summon a large shield, which then you cannot damage him. And if you try to fire while the skeleton is in shield mode, the bullets will be trapped on the shield. Once the skeleton boss releases his shield, the bullets will be fired back at the players, dealing 20 damage each bullet that was shot. The shield as well has an explosion radius, which knockbacks any player nearby, dealing a certain amount of damage dependent on the range. The skeleton boss will occasionally turn its blue eyes to red, which makes the skeleton boss more powerful, making him able to lock onto certain players and have a perfect accuracy on its shots. The skeleton boss first ever appeared in the 2021 Halloween event, and then lastly appeared in the 2022 Halloween event. To find the skeleton boss, you have to go through a gate leading to a forest called Forest of Bones. Then you will find the Forgotten Sanctuary, where the skeleton boss lurks. If you manage to kill the skeleton boss, he would drop or give you multiple rewards. Once the skeleton boss died, a portal will be opened up, teleporting you back to the safe zone. When 50 minutes have passed, the portal will close up and the skeleton boss will spawn back again. And sadly, there is no written lore for the skeleton boss. The zombie bear is almost just like a normal bear. Zombie bear has an appearance of a, you guessed it, a zombie. Zombie bear has 600 health and does 80 damage, but a normal bear only has 300 health, but does the same damage. Zombie bear has a very aggressive behavior. When you're spotted by it, it will run over to you and try to whack you, making you ragdoll. Once you stand up and it's near you, it will run towards you and finish you off. And the lore behind zombie bears is that they came back for revenge to the ones who haunted them when they were alive and normal. The zombie bear has appeared in the 2021 Halloween event and the 2022 Halloween event, and after that, we're never seen again. Unlike Legendary Skeleton, normal skeletons are less powerful, and are NPC minions of the Legendary Skeleton. Skeletons have an appearance of a Legendary Skeleton but way smaller in size. There were different variants of skeletons seen in appearance. Some wore sombreros, black cowboy hats, or just ponchos. They used in-game weapons that could be purchased by players. Even though skeletons only had 200 health, they were pretty hard to kill, with them able to deal 25 up to 150 damage per hit, with their accurate aim, depending on how close they were to you. Skeletons had overall 6 locations where they would spawn at, one of them mostly being in the underworld, where their main goal was to guard the Legendary Skeleton from intruders. The skeletons dropped 3 types of loot for players, one of them being piles of bones, which you needed a certain amount of bones from skeletons outside of the underworld in order to unlock the gates in the underworld. Skeletons only ever appeared in the 2021 Halloween event, and the reason being because of the 2020 Halloween event, when your goal was to steal skeleton parts in order to obtain a skeleton horse for yourself. This time, skeletons gathered in armies, defending their territories and stopping players from coming back. The wild skeleton horse was an animal that could be found in the Forest of Bones during the 2020 Halloween event. He was a unique creature for the given fact that the Wild West had never had a horse as a dangerous animal or villain. It had 450 health and dealt 30 damage while knocking you back and ragdolling you. If killed, it would drop one of its body parts for you to collect, which if you had all the parts, you could obtain your own skeleton horse. To use for transportation, skeleton horses can only be rode at night, and will not allow you to spawn in at daytime, due to the fact that the dead can only come out in the dark. There isn't a clear lore to why wild skeletons had came, but a theory could be that it was just a forest animal that roamed around in the dark horrors of the underworld. Aliens, formerly known as the UFO, a mysterious and massive flying saucer that occasionally flew around the skies of the Wild West. In the 2021 Halloween event, the UFO would stop at some point and shine a beam to the ground, dropping a laser cannon for players to discover. At first it was harmless, and no one had a clue of who was controlling the UFO, or why they came, until the UFO appeared lastly a second time, in the 2023 Halloween event. When it flew by, it had a chance of getting struck by lightning. It would then fall down and crash to the ground. Up to 3 aliens would come out of the UFO and start firing with their laser cannons at anyone they see. One alien had 1,000 health and would do 66 damage to the body and 86 to the head, this time protecting their laser cannon. It's a mystery to why aliens are no longer sharing their laser cannons, but a theory could just be that they feel endangered now that they're on Earth's ground. If you killed the alien, there was a small chance the laser cannon would drop. and you would pick it up to use. Krampus, the strongest and most unique villain that ever existed in the Wild West. Krampus was a horned humanoid being with a dark red cloak and white long pointed claws, and a large white beard and legs in the shape of a goat, and a fearsome pair of glowing green eyes. He was the boss in the 2021 Christmas event and took over Raiders' cannons with his ginormous evil castle. Krampus has stolen many presents and is eager to ruin Christmas with the help of outlaws. To get to Krampus, you occasionally had to go through obstacles that consisted out of swinging axes, trying to stop you from reaching Krampus. When you managed to reach Krampus, he would be at his keep, waiting for you. With over 7,000 health and different variants of attacks, this beast was much more powerful than players thought. Krampus' main attack was shooting ice shards from his hand, which had blast damage, 30 damage if direct hit, and 10 damage if you got hit by the blast. Krampus would draw his head back and charge like a goat, dealing 10 damage, flinging those in his path and causing them to ragdoll. Then Krampus would summon Snowman minions that dealt a large amount of damage with their guns, and Krampus' final action, Health Restoration Crystals. Krampus will occasionally spawn 4 floating ice crystals, which would rapidly start healing him. In order to stop Krampus from healing, you had to break the crystals by firing 2 to 3 shots on each. Krampus would also occasionally laugh evilly, and Krampus as well had custom voice lines. It was hard to hear him saying it during battle, but his words could still be made out. If you managed to kill Krampus with the help of others, then he would drop and give you cosmetics and items. He would drop nice tokens for those who killed them, a reward from Santa, which you could use to buy stuff from the Santa shop. But if you were an outlaw and killed civilians trying to stop Krampus, then they would drop naughty tokens, and you could purchase something from Krampus' contraband store near the castle. After the 2021 Christmas event, Krampus left and no longer returned, and that's the last we ever saw him in the Wild West. Evil Snowman were the minions of Krampus. They would serve and protect Krampus from civilians. They appeared in 2 Christmas events, 2021 and 2023. In 2021, Evil Snowman served Krampus and had 120 up to 400 health, dealing 25 to 90 damage with a gun. Their behavior is to pretend to be a snowman, then activate in evil mode with their eyes glowing up in red, and charging towards a player. They would drop these items if killed in 2021. Until in 2023, they made a second appearance by Santa using the snowman to replace his elves, which backfired, and the snowman stole Santa's presents and turned against Santa. So Santa gives you a mission to kill them and pick up frozen gun parts. Snowman did, however, drop other Christmas items from last year's Christmas event. Once you had all the frozen gun parts and are given to Santa, he would craft you a red-nosed rifle as a reward. After the 2023 Christmas event, the snowmen haven't been seen ever since. Dr. Robert Lazarus, aka Dr. Laz, a mad scientist who owns and operates an electrical tower and has an advanced laboratory under the cemetery. He wore red glasses, a lab shirt, and lab pants, and would carry on him additional weapons. Dr. Lazarus has designed a machine that he hopes can bring back his dead wife Elizabeth after she was murdered by Marauder outlaws. Dr. Lazarus requests you to bring any sort of thunderstruck item in order to fuel the machine and harness the electrical powers of it. After you have given him 2 thunderstruck items, a mini cutscene starts, and Dr. Lazarus will bring his son from the chapel and bring him down to the machine. Pastor Everett then starts arguing with Dr. Lazarus. He tried to convince him not to do it, but Dr. Lazarus still goes through with it anyways, empowers his machine and heads to the center of the lab. and gets stuck in the air by 3 electrical currents in the giant shield, failing to succeed his wish. But the horror has only just begun. A cutscene plays, and the electrical tower strikes into the sky, making it dark. All of a sudden, lightning strikes all across the map, spawning in tons of dead zombies in a human appearance. Dr. Lazarus has made a mistake. Pastor Everett then gives the player a mission, and gives them an extractor, and instructs them to collect light essence from zombies to shut off the machine. Once you killed 50 zombies and collected its essence and bring it back to Everett, Everett will then shut off the machine, turning off the electrical current, and freeing his father Lazarus. But it was too late, and Dr. Lazarus dies on the floor from the high voltages. Even though Dr. Lazarus didn't mean to bring evil deads into the world, he still brought them back and caused mass destruction across the Wild West. Dr. Lazarus had made the same mistake as Callahan, now moving on from the past and keeping a hold onto it. In the end, their own emotional thoughts killed them. The Marauder was an outlaw NPC added into the Undead Legends update. It attacked any player who entered Senna's canyons. The Marauder's face was covered by a mask. The Marauder wielded a Spencer repeating carbine, a guy-cut chain pistol, and a kukri. He had over 1,200 health. It would be impossible to kill up close. If killed, he had a chance of dropping his mask for you to pick up. However, the Marauder was accused of killing Dr. Lazarus' wife, Elizabeth. As Dr. Lazarus stated, she was killed by the outlaw Marauders. The Marauder appeared in the 2023 Halloween event, and was never seen after that again. Undead, better known as zombies. They were the NPCs in the Undead Legends event. A majority of undead were unarmed. However, several mini-bosses could spawn amongst them that were way more powerful. Tons of undead would spawn across the map with different variants of appearances. They would be seen limping around. However, when approached, they ran fast towards players, whacking them, dealing 20 damage. Normal undead had 250 health, and if killed, had a chance of giving you a zombie hunter hat. And you could also extract the essence from the zombies that is used for the machine. They only spawned when Dr. Lazarus' machine was on, bringing them back to life, and they can be found all around the map at that time. There were 5 mini-bosses that had their name in red, that could spawn amongst the zombies, so let's quickly go through them. Zachariah Henry was the undead version of the Wild West mascot, Zachariah Henry. Had over 1,000 health and dealt 35 damage with his Navy revolver. And if he was killed, he had a chance of dropping a flood lantern or giving you a zombie hunter hat. Then we have Maynard Colburn. He was a notable mayor in Bronze City before his death in 1868. He came back as an undead, wearing the same clothes he used to wear as a mayor. He had over 1,000 health and dealt 40 damage with his arms. He had a chance of dropping a flood lantern and also giving you a zombie hunter hat. Next boss is Trapper. He wore an Olshanka and a fur coat and had over 1,000 health and would use a Spencer carbine, a Losk revolver, and a kukri machete. And would also have a chance of dropping a flood lantern. Hector El Hueso Guerrero. He wore a spooky sombrero, a spooky mask, and a bone warrior outfit. He used for defense a mule shotgun, a Mauser, and a knife. He would drop and give if killed, spooky sombrero, bone warrior outfit, and a spooky mask, and a flood lantern. Lastly, Demon Hunter Carter, who was a normal human until he was killed, and now appears as undead. Had around 1,000 health and carried an Ocelot mule, Ocelot sawed-off, and the Ocelot blade. He would drop or give you if killed, a Ocelot blade, a flood lantern, and a Demon Hunter outfit. All undead only ever appeared in the 2023 Halloween event, and weren't seen ever since. Wendigo cultists were human NPCs in the Undead Legends event, who took over the abandoned tribal camp. They wore cultist robes and Wendigo hats, having a horn bow slung across their back. They would attack anyone on sight, dealing 33 damage with their bows. They had over 250 health and would drop nothing if killed. They were mainly protecting the First Lady. The First Lady was the cult leader, who had 1,500 health, and also wore a Wendigo hat and a cultist outfit. She carried a lightning bow and a kukri, and would attack any intruders she saw, and would call over her Wendigo cultists for backup. The cult also hated undead, so they would kill any undead they saw on sight. And sadly, there isn't lore for the Wendigo cultists or the First Lady. The Skinwalker is a witch and a dark spirit that takes the form of animals. It has a similar appearance to a Wendigo. Skinwalker had long black hair, glowing red eyes, and a deer skull head, and a deer-like body. A Skinwalker had to be summoned by a player by extracting blood from a deer, a bear, and a bison with an extractor into vials. Skinwalker only could be summoned around 6 PM to 6 AM, and you had to be alone in the tribal forest area with no players nearby, and you had to drop all of the vials together. Within 2 to 20 seconds, the Skinwalker would spawn in the location you dropped the vials. What a lot of players didn't realize was how powerful the Skinwalker really was. Once spawned, she would occasionally start giggling and snickering or growling. She had a larger spotting radius than the Wendigo, and when she spotted you, she would begin to attack with her 3 attack forms. She would run towards a player and throw them, making them ragdoll, dealing 23 damage when hit, and would continue attacking you even if you're still ragdolled on the ground, dealing 23 damage each hit. If she couldn't reach you, she would then howl up at the sky, pulling you towards her and ragdolling you. Pull only did 5 damage however, but it was practically impossible to outrun her, and she would constantly pull you towards herself and hit you, dealing 23 damage until you were dead. Skinwalker had over 2,500 health and was obviously really hard to kill. But if killed, she had a chance of dropping 3 bones, her skull, jaw, or bone, which you can hand over to Chief Wanblee at the Little Rock Reservation, whose land was taken over by the Skinwalker, and he asked any player to try and stop it. When you gave him a specific bone, he would craft it into a weapon or a cosmetic. It is unclear who the witch is who took the appearance of a Skinwalker, or even what animal the Skinwalker is, but the Skinwalker only appeared in the Undead Legends update, and was never seen after that again. Gerald, a mythical fish that is possibly the only villain that can be always seen by players in the Wild West. He is a mythical fish with long spiky fins, sharp teeth, and glowing white eyes. He can be found at water cavern, lake cave, or desert mine. He also used to be at 2 other locations for events. He deals steady damage and is usually found with several other Gerald fish around him. And Gerald fish is invincible and cannot be killed at all, whatever you try. Even to the point where one of the in-game NPCs, Big Jimmy, has a lore of him drinking Gerald's blood to be invincible, which he also is to this day. Gerald can still be found to this day, and he remains lurking in the water biomes in the Wild West. And with that, we come to an end of this look at each of the villains found in the Wild West. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it both entertaining and informative. Remember to leave a like, comment down below, and as well, subscribe for more videos like these. Huge thanks to Super Horror Bro for giving me inspiration to make this video. Be sure to check him out. And also, huge credit to the people who I used their clips in this video, some of whom I did not even manage to get a hold of to ask permission to use. So please check out the people in the description below, because without them, this video wouldn't have been possible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.